And very pleased to welcome to the program Perry Patterson, who played college ball, went over to play NFL Europe. And Perry Patterson, good to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us here on Norm at Night. And I know you played, when you were in NFL Europe, you played a little for Dave Ritchie, who's certainly a very respected name in the Canadian Football League, in terms of coaching with the BC Lions from 93 to 95, Montreal Alouettes, and had a nice long run with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers from 99 2004. Yeah, I know you also attended the Eagles camp. I think it was 2006. So obviously you know a lot about college football and pro football in different scenarios. So what was that like, by the way, Perry, playing overseas NFL Europe? How did you find that?
I thought it was pretty cool. It actually wasn't NFL Europe. It's just regular European football. NFL Europe folded in 2007.
Okay.
So so it was just normal American football, but it's just in Europe. I mean, they have about 150 teams spread it out all over Europe, and it was just a good experience for me. One of the main reasons I went over there was obviously Dave Ritchie and his ties to the CFL, and my agents just thought it would be a good idea to go over there, get used to some of his coaching and some of his philosophies and things like that. And also just build up a bigger social network. As a free agent like myself, it's really about who you know now, and just try to get people familiar with who I am, just hear my name and see me playing outdoor football rather than playing indoor football, which I've been playing the last 3 years. So.
Yeah. Now, did in terms of any of the fellas you knew from playing overseas in Europe, I mean, we know the Kurt Warner story, but in terms of guys, kind of like a long shot odds to make it, and then, he's working at the hardware store. But in terms of playing overseas there, did any of your buddies or teammates or guys you knew from other teams make their way into the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I know people that play in Europe that actually make their way into the CFL. Other than playing in the European leagues, I'm not sure of anybody that made it into the NFL from there, but I'm pretty sure there are guys who probably made it into camps. But I don't know any myself personally, but I do know a guy who played Europe, I think maybe a year ago or so, and he ended up getting linked on to a CFL team. So, and everything is just more of a stepping stone. You obviously the NFL is the moon in a sense, but anytime you can get onto a CFL team as well, I mean, it's all is great. So, as far as any guys making it into the NFL, I'm not too sure about that.
Okay, Perry Patterson was a college quarterback at the Cuse, and as mentioned, played overseas in Europe. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you were at an Eagles camp. Was that 2006?
No, that was actually in 07.
07.
My last college season was in 2006. And I was in a few camps actually that summer of 07, and the Eagles was one of the teams that actually signed me to a contract.
Okay,
and, that was actually short-lived. So.
And short-lived as it was, obviously you would have, I guess, got to know a little bit Donovan McNabb, who several years before you preceded you at the Cuse. What was it like for the brief time you were there in terms of, did you get to work with Donovan much?
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew Don from college. When he used to come by, because he was like on the board of trustees there. So I met him as I think a freshman, and we had a more of a personal relationship going there. And then when I went to Philly, he was hurt at the time. I think he was just coming back from his ACL, so he wasn't working with us. It was just me, Kolb, AJ Philly, and Kelly Holcomb at the time, and. But no, it was good. I mean, Pat Shermer was the QB coach. He was one of the guys that was touting me pretty much before the draft and telling me that I was like kind of highly regarded. I was like maybe second or third on their list behind Kolb, and it was just a good experience for me. I mean, I didn't really get much coaching up until my senior year in college. And just being able to work with Pat Shermer, and for the few days that I did, it really taught me a lot. He just taught me about just some footwork, just touch and ball placement, little things here and there that I really did not hear in my college career. So it was good for the time, and I kind of kept those coaching points with and tried to apply those things. And as I went on to arena, there's certain things that he told me that I will never forget. So I'm just hoping that it'll pay off someday for me. But yeah, it was a great experience, and I just wish I would have had more of a chance to actually prove myself rather than just being in OTAs or minicamp or whatever.
So did you feel that you in terms of what you're saying about whether it was the Eagles camp or the other teams, did you feel that maybe if you'd been given a longer look that you might have had a shot to at least be a backup or play a few games in the NFL?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, it's hard to prove. I mean, when you're in mini camps, you're not really under the gun. It's more about, you dropping back. You're not really having to avoid. You're not playing in any games. And that's what I was. I was more of a gamer. And I would probably consider myself more of a developmental guy coming into the NFL. But, I mean, I had instincts that I think that you really can't teach. And once you get into a game, I thought that would have been I would have been able to show my talents a little bit more. But I mean, when you get 3 days and you get a couple days here and there, you really can't. I mean, unless you pretty much just wow 'em, it's really hard to show what you can do in a few days with the few practices and things like that. And that's kind of how I took it. I didn't really get too down about it because it's not like I was in a preseason camp and I was playing games and I just didn't cut it because I just couldn't play. I just didn't really have a chance to show what I can do, and that's kind of the reason why I kind of stuck with it. Just hoping I would get that chance again and be able to show what I really can do on a playing field against the talent. When the bullets are firing, and you really have to make decisions and play well when you're under the gun and stuff. So.
Perry Patterson, who was a college quarterback at the Cuse for 4 years and then went on to play pro football in Europe and had attended several NFL camps that he's addressing right now. For lack of a better term, Perry, is there or are there a lot of politics in terms of decisions that are made on players on taxi squads? Like, in other words, let's say hypothetically, I mean, obviously you sound like you're pretty confident in your skills and what you could have brought to a team. Not in a bitter way, but you just sound very confident. If you end up, let's say, looking better than someone who was like, a pretty high pick, I don't know, someone with the first or the top 6 rounds. I mean, Brady went in the 6th round in New England, right? So let's say in camp you look better. Is there a political thing that goes on there? Well, you can't embarrass their head scouts or their head personnel people by looking better than the guy that they drafted. So, if you're pretty close to the guy they drafted, they might favor the guy they drafted because they don't want to make the organization look bad. I mean, does that sometimes happen?
Yeah, I mean, of course. It was a situation when I was in Buffalo's camp, and they drafted Trent Edwards as a 2nd round pick, and me and Trent Edwards, we ran the rookie minicamp, the first one in May, and there was no difference. To me, there was no. If I was behind Trent Edwards, it wasn't much like of a difference to me. He was a little bit more polished as far as his fundamentals, but I mean physically and just like the overall talents, like I was making the same throws he was, and I forget what the head coach's name was at the time, and there was times where I was actually looking better than Trent and some drills and things like that, But like I was a tryout guy. I wasn't even signed to a contract in that rookie minicamp, and he was their 2nd round draft pick. So right then and there, they already had millions of dollars invested in him. So yeah, of course they want to give him every chance in the world to prove them that no, he's not the guy. So and it's not going to be with 3 days. It took 4 or 5 years, however long he played there. And what I can do in 3 days, I could have just got a free agent contract, but it wasn't going to be enough to, possibly beat him out or anything like that. So that is, I mean, it's when you're drafted into the NFL, you're in a much better position than when you're either if you're a free agent or if you're just trying to earn a contract. So yeah, some politics and money does play a big role in the NFL. But at the end of the day, if you come to play and you do what you had to do, you can pave your own way and things like that. So it's really about it's all about luck and being in the right situations and things like that. And the three camps that I went to, it really just wasn't a good fit for me, and that sometimes happens. So I learned to live with it and just try to move on from there.